Hello, I'm Johnny Bravo. Today you're going under the musical influence of today's guest, Bon Scott Stevens, on Under the Influence with DJ Johnny Bravo. Now, I brought on Bon because Bon is in a D-line with a professional football team. He does play drums. He is a connoisseur of music. Bon, tell me a little bit about your musical self.
Not much, obviously. Like you said, I'm a drummer. Been on this NFL drum line, the D-line, if you will. Kind of well known around actually nationwide and overseas. Been on it since 2004, drumming for fans, making people have fun, have a good time at the game. Game day experience is a big part of going to this stuff, so people really like it, especially on the team that I play for. We're not doing so hot, but anyways, yeah. I've done a lot of drumming, a couple of different bands. I guess we'll start from like the beginning, huh?
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the bands maybe that you've been in, and maybe how you got into drumming, that kind of thing.
In middle school, I was in the band. Obviously, I was in jazz band and the Symphonic band. And we didn't have a marching band, but we played at football games. I played trombone, actually. A lot of people don't know that. But I was on the baseball team. Long story short, broke my arm, had a cast all the way from right here to right here. Couldn't play the trombone because can't really bend that way. And I didn't want to just sit around, so I started playing mallet, playing bells and all the little random percussion and stuff like that. And then just never went back. In high school, got in jazz band, got into marching band. And my junior year, got in a drum and bugle corps, Tealstown drum and bugle corps charter member, played bass drum for them. Then I got in bands in high school. Like I was in a punk band called Popular Demand, kind of like a poppy punk. They just needed a drummer and they knew I had drums, so I filled in for them. And then next you know, we're recording a CD, which I still have laying around somewhere. Pretty funny. We play like punk versions like Earth Angel and stuff like that. Then I got in a couple bands with my dad, like my senior year and out of high school. A couple different blues, like Southern rock kind of band. Pretty fun. The first one, it was just kind of like just hanging out in this guy's jam room, and we never really do anything. We didn't play any parties or nothing, so I kind of backed out of that and then did my own thing with a couple of my buddies. Did another band with my dad that we actually played at bars, and we did like hosted open mic night, all kinds of stuff like that. First band that I played that play at biker bars and play our original songs, so that was kind of cool. We're not playing like, oh, Blaze, I'm scared, you know. We didn't have that kind of thing going on. But yeah, I did that. And then all this, I'm still doing, you know, around this time doing drumline for Jag. Did all kinds of stuff with them. Played on stage with Shania Twain. That was kind of cool. I can't tell you the song. I can't remember what song it was. I just remember I almost knocked her off the stage with my bass drum. We're just kind of two-stepped it in between our parts. And I looked over at my buddy and we're like, whoa, this is crazy. And then I turned around and she's like Matrix swinging and singing. Didn't even skip a beat. Swung around my bass drum and just kept walking around the stage. It was pretty insane. So almost knocked Shania Twain off the stage.
The last podcast when I was on with my son, you know, he played drums for a while as well. And we actually talked about Shania Twain, even though he doesn't know who Shania Twain is. It's funny how sometimes you get that same kind of person that comes back up. But I'm glad you didn't knock her down. That
Same. She was a very, very short, very hot lady with a giant set of teeth. Perfect set of teeth. You know, I guess she wasn't like that back in the day, but super tight. I was actually surprised at how small. So that's probably why I didn't knock her out, because she could get underneath my bass drum. You know, being 6'4", bass drum was a little higher up off the ground, you know.
And get out of the way. Yeah, you started off with the trombone and then went to the drums. I really wanted to start with the drums when I did band, but I actually ended up on trumpet. I wanted to play sax, and my hands weren't big enough, so I couldn't do either of the instruments I really wanted to do, which kind of sucks. You know, that when you can't get the instrument you want, how that sucks.
Yeah. I played trombone because my uncle had a trombone because he was in marching band. My dad was in marching band, but he played saxophone. But the only thing he had was a clarinet. I didn't want to have anything to do with the clarinet for some reason. It just seemed a little off for me, anyways. You know. Yeah. So I would have played trombone. I think seventh. So the 6th and 7th grade, and then 7th grade is when I broke my arm, and I was second chair too. So it was, and there was like, I think there were 6 of us. There were 6 trombones, pretty sure. I just remember going, oh well, I don't want to sit here because they could get really boring, especially listening to all the same kids. You know, in middle school, they were playing the same song over and over and over again, and it's like the craziest thing. Oh my God, you hear how good we played that? And then just over and over and over and over. So I was like, I have to be in there playing. I can't just sit here and listen to that.
Do you play any other instruments besides those two?
I can play bass. I can slap at a bass.
Slap at the bass.
Yeah, slap at the bass, man. I can ping pretty good with the bass. One of my buddies in high school that I used to play with played bass, and he kind of showed me a little bit. There's just little things here and there that like I remembered from playing in high school and just, repetitive. I don't even know what they are, just stuff that he showed me. And every time I pick up a bass, I'll play those exact same things. And someone's like, "Dang, you can play bass." I'm like, a little bit. It's just what I can remember.
I can play those few chords and gets me out of trouble, right? No Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
no Stairway to Heaven.
No Stairway.
So when did you first discover music?
That's a pretty hard question because, obviously you start learning and listening and stuff at a very young age. As a little kid, my dad always had music, always making, like, he recorded a bunch of his records on the tapes. And then, as the years progressed, all the tapes got them on the CDs and, how that story goes. Like, my dad's the one that had like the whole wall of music, all CDs, anything you can think of. When Laserdisc came out, he started buying all the Laserdisc stuff. And him and my great grandfather, Lynn Pop, he was really, really good musician. Played banjo, played organ, piano, guitar, all that stuff. And I remember visiting him all the time, and I was just always so like infatuated with him, especially with banjo. I don't know who doesn't like a banjo, right?
My dad had a banjo, and I remember discovering it. I don't know, he had it in a closet somewhere. They call it picking on the banjo. I don't know how to play it, but I just thought it was the coolest thing, just kind of, taking the pick and picking the banjo.
I remember he had all those metal, like, they look like fingernails.
Yeah, the little side ones, yeah.
A little side pick, and then like, it's like a metal, it wrapped around your finger, and then it had it looked like a lady's fingernail, but it's metal. And I remember he'd always bust those things on his fingers.
Yeah, who doesn't like a good banjo?
That's what, people are like, "Oh, I can't stand country." I get that, but you can't, like, bluegrass, stuff like that. Yeah, no, that's always it's a good chorded with me. Definitely. That's what I can remember about my first influences of music was all my dad playing music, like road trips. He'd always have, like, we'd drive to West Virginia to visit family, and he'd have 12 hours of music, and you wouldn't hear the same song twice. You'd go from, Black Sabbath to Kiss to Ted Nugent to Dr. Demento CD, where, it's playing all these goofy songs, I don't remember. Do you remember Dr. Demento? They had like CDs with all the bird, the bird is a word, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Kind of like the first Weird Al or whatever, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Like roly-poly fish heads and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, all those kind of songs that you remember that were, as a kid, were like weird, but you thought you might have made them up because they were, kind of like nursery rhymes or something. You were like, that couldn't be real. I know I made that up.
Yeah.
But they actually do exist.
I sang something that popped in my head at work, and I started singing it, and I walked by somebody, and they literally stopped me, and they're like, "What?" And we're like, "What are you singing?" "Oh, it's off this talk." They had no idea what I was talking about. It was like a younger kid. But
roly-poly fish heads. I hadn't heard that in a while.
I think it was "They're coming to take me away." Ha ha! They're coming to take me. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, he had some good songs, and that's kind of stuff you hear. You don't realize you remember it, and then all of a sudden it just hits you, and you start singing the stuff, and you're like, "Where is that from?" You have to look it up. Good thing we have Google where we can look it up.
Oh man, for real.
So what was
the day you had to like call?
Yeah, you had to call like 10 people to try to figure out what that was or who it was, and then they have to do some research, maybe get an encyclopedia or two out, go to the library or whatever.
3 days later, someone would call you and just blurt out the answer as soon as you picked up the phone. Yeah.
Wait for dial up, go make a sandwich, dinner, lunch, breakfast, and it'd still be a and you're waiting for that thing to load up to see if you can. Now it's so much faster. You just,
and then your mom picked up, started all over.
Yeah, exactly.
"Mom, why'd you put the phone?"
Stop picking up the phone, Mom. I'm trying to figure out some stuff.
I'm trying to get on AIM.
Trying to get on the interwebs, internet, the online, American online.
Yeah.
What was that first song that you think that you might remember?
I was thinking about this the other day, not really knowing like what direction I should go for it, but I was like, the first thing I could think of like that would pop in my head would, like, as a kid, everything goes back to like when you first started like hearing stuff. So like, I don't know, like the opening song or maybe it's the end of the show, the Elephant Show, the Skimmer Dinky Dinky Dink song.
I don't know if I remember that.
But then I went way back, like, remember the Letter People?
I don't remember.
The intro to the Letter People, that's probably like the first song that I could probably remember.
Well, how did that influence like your musical taste now, like all that and the Dr. Demento and all that? I mean, it's got to be a weird vibe, right?
Yeah, it's all goofy stuff, It's just, I don't know, big into the goofy kind of stuff like that growing up. But I mean, other than that, like, and then it's a mix of like I said, my dad's a huge Kiss fan, so you could say Shout It Out Loud by Kiss would probably be a song that would have been the first one ingrained into my brain because he would listen to Kiss all the time, like Dr. Love or something like that.
People just don't understand the impact of Kiss, with the makeup and everything and how wild that really was. They look at it now and it probably just seems like something that everybody does or a circus or whatever. I mean, it was just really like insane back in the day for Kiss to do that.
Yeah, especially being like, I think they were all Jewish, right? Like that was a big, we watch all kinds of documentaries and stuff about that, obviously, my dad. But like they're going through the whole, like where the church was calling them Knights in Satan's service and stuff like that. Yeah, that was pretty extreme. And like you said, now people are looking like, look at these clowns.
Moms used to go crazy and, want to boycott and have, not come through the town and just all kinds of craziness. Yep. People don't realize.
Yeah. Gene's got a reality show.
Yeah, he was on a reality show. We were watching that one, I can't think of the name of the movie, but where the song that they like is Kiss. He goes over for the holidays. I don't know if you've seen that movie or not, where Gene and them come at the end of the movie when he's trying to propose to her. But
with Ryan Reynolds?
No, it's not Ryan Reynolds. I can't think. It's the guy from, it was in the first Spider-Man movies that played his best friend. Got the tattoo on the back and everything.
That's right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I can't think of what it is, but we watched that yesterday with Kiss and them coming out at the very end for not the whole band, just the two guys, but still playing. They're still rocking. They're still rocking and rolling, man. I mean, they're just still doing it, and it's just amazing after all these years to see Kiss.
Yeah, Gene's he's a very, very like strong businessman, and he like all the merchandise. There's so much money coming from so many different ways for that band.
I don't know if you remember when they did the Marvel comic out of their own blood. They used their own blood to put in like the ink to make the comic book for Marvel back in the day.
Yeah, I wonder if those are worth any money. That's actually something I never even thought of.
Some of them might be.
Yeah,
a couple of them might be. I don't know about the one, especially with the Kiss, using the blood or not. Most people might not realize that. Might be worth some money.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's take a little break and we'll be right back. So hang on. We are back. I'm Johnny Bravo. You're going under the musical influence of today's guest, Bon Scott Stevens, on Under the Influence with DJ Johnny Bravo. All right, Bon, it's time to talk about your girlfriends, that kind of thing, maybe a long-distance dedication, or I know you're married. Some guys like to take the easy out and talk about their wives and not get into all the girlfriends. If you can remember what your first couple song is, or if you want to talk about what your, you and your wife's song was, you can do that too.
Gotcha. So I think I am going to take the easy way out with the whole wife thing. They're called ex-girlfriends for a reason, right?
That's right.
But I gotta say one song that definitely pops out, sticks out the most, is the song we actually danced to when we got married, was the Avett Brothers, "Living a Love." Really good song. A really good band too. I don't know if you've ever heard Avett Brothers, but they're really good. They're phenomenal, even live too. You know, Allie, so this probably would come as a shocker, but when we first started hanging out, we spent a lot of time driving because I lived out the beach and she lived in town, so we spent a lot of time in cars. And we were coming back from the bar one night, and she's like, "Oh, I want to listen to some Slipknot." And I was just like, "Oh, okay, all right." And then we're riding out, and of course I'm air drumming in the front seat, and then I look over, and she knows all the words to all the songs, which was kind of hot and flooring me at the same time. Holy, this chick that I'm dating, she knows all this, and then goes into Tool and all that. She knows more Tool lyrics than I do, which was insane. But another song with her that sticks out the most is "Eyeless" by Slipnot. She really likes that song. She likes the way he screams at the end of it or something like that. It was pretty funny though. That's two of the songs that pop out as far as connection with my wife.
If you get a wife that likes to watch sports, and if you're into sports or if you're into certain bands, and it's all it's like you found the Holy Grail. It's like, what happened here? I found a girl that just is yelling out Slipknot. I mean, what's up with that? And knows all the parts.
Yeah.
You had to marry her.
She's a keeper. I remember even a couple weeks after that, I was telling my buddy Sione, so one of my brothers from another mother, I was like, I'm gonna marry that girl. He always tells that story too. I remember he'd been out hanging out with her probably 2 months, and he's like, I'm gonna marry that girl. And I ended up marrying her.
That's
9
really...
years.
Oh, right. Yeah.
9 years. Yeah. November 2nd. I wasn't thinking. I was just, yeah.
Well,
November 2nd was our end.
And it's okay to take the easy way. A lot of times, people don't understand that, and they're like, why would you do that? But when you get married, you understand.
Yeah, everything else is just, it's back there. It's gone. Like, I could probably think of something. I can think of maybe like a song from an ex-girlfriend that was after a breakup, maybe like Deftones. I think it's Change. Like that was a song that I remember listening to a whole lot after a breakup one time. Kind of like I would just be in the car driving, like, oh, yeah.
Wonder what happened session. Like, what happened? What went wrong?
Yeah. I was like, the big part of the vocals is I watched you change. So it's like, that was like, I don't know. I guess that meant a whole lot to me, and I just listened to that song on repeat a lot. The Deftones is a very good band too. So
2 songs that stick out for like, purposes like that. One was What She's Doing Now by Garth Brooks. I used to do that in karaoke too. I don't know why. And then Black by Pearl Jam. That's like a good breakup song if you're like in the doldrums, sitting there like, turn my world to black, and it's like tattoo everything I see and all that good stuff.
Yep. Yeah. They another one, I guess the ex-girlfriend that I had. Dated a lot of brunettes and a lot of brown eyes, so a very cliche, but brown eye girl. But like I had a couple, like a ringtone for a girl that was brown eye girl. Of course, you use that one time, and you can't use it for any other one because then it's like, oh, that was that chick.
Yeah. How many times have you done that?
Yeah, right. No, only a couple. No.
Yeah, my daughter gives me a hard time because all my stories start out when I dated this one girl one time, and this is what happened. She's like, Dad, all your stories start that way. So I'm sorry. I apologize. Vaughn, what was your first concert, or maybe that first concert that you remember?
First concert that I remember was with my dad. Obviously, like I said, he's a big influencer on my music. Took me to see Kiss. Imagine that. But Ted Nugent was opening for him. So that's, now that I think back that as a young adult, I say young adult, I'm 40. That's kind of rad. But like my dad he tells a story where he's got me up on my shoulders because I'm little. Can't see over all the people standing on the floor. But he had me on his shoulder, and Ted Nugent's playing. He's running around with the headdress and the loincloth, and he's like swinging from one side to the other and shooting arrows. And like I said, now I'm like, wow, that would be amazing to watch. But then I just like leaned down to my dad over to his ear, up on his shoulders, and I'm like, when's Kiss coming on? And he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, I said, to the T, this guy's a geek. I want to see Kiss.
Oh, man. Yeah, what was Ted's? He had a cat scratch fever, wasn't that was one of his big ones?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Cat scratch fever.
Cat scratch fever.
Yeah, I went and saw Kiss one time without the makeup, and they were, my buddy is a big Kiss fan, and I fell asleep during the concert because I was working like 3 jobs. And I always tell the story. I probably told the story on the podcast, but it was like 3 bands, like Slaughter and Danger, and somebody else opened up for him. By the time Kiss came on there, I was just tired, and he was like, this is Kiss. I'm like, yeah, but they're without the makeup. It's not really the same thing. It's like, there's no showmanship. There's no, the explosions aren't even the same without the makeup.
Yeah. Who are these 4 ugly guys up there?
They used to be able to go around town without the makeup on and just, do whatever they wanted to do. And then when they did the no makeup thing, that stopped being the case, I guess.
Yep. Do
you remember what tour it was?
Yeah, I don't know. All I remember is Ted Nugent was opening for him. I want to say they still had makeup on.
What? Where was it at?
It was in Jacksonville. It was at the Coliseum, when we had the Coliseum here. Now we have a Veterans Memorial something or other. I just said Coliseum like you live here and you know what I was talking about. But
well, most places have a Coliseum.
Well, now our Coliseum isn't a Coliseum anymore. It's like they bulldozed it down and made it some kind of arena. But yeah, it was at the Coliseum in downtown Jacksonville.
Yeah, ours is basically it's the Richmond Coliseum, and they've closed it. And if you actually look on the World Beyond Zombie, whatever that, Walking Dead show, on the first season, they actually show it on one of the episodes. They actually show the, where you can go up to it and everything. They didn't use the inside of it, but they use the outside interior of the Richmond Coliseum. So that tells you how old ours is too.
Another one that I remember my first concert that I picked out that I dragged my dad to. So I was in youth group in middle school, and MxPx, I'm a surfer kid, so I listened to punk music and all that stuff, and found out that MxPx through my youth group was playing at the high school that I was going to be going to. like in the next year or so. So I got tickets through my youth group, and then to show up, and there's like all my buddies from middle school, all my surfer buddies were there. And I'm like, you guys go to youth group? And they're like, no, we got tickets and we're here. We're gonna mosh or something like that. I'm like, okay, this should be fun. I'm sitting there with my dad. It was MxPx, 90-pound wuss, and then they had the opening band. They didn't have a name for it. It was just a mixture of MxPx and 90-pound wuss. So it was just like another excuse to play more music, you know? So they played, and then 90-pound wuss played, and then MxPx played. And I remember, like, as soon as they started playing, because they had that, we ain't got no place to go, let's go to the punk rock show. And, of course, all my friends just bum rushed. This is an auditorium at a high school. They just bum rushed that little section that there's not any wooden chairs on and start just pushing each other around. And the Fletcher High School cop comes out there, community officer, whatever, comes out there, and he's like, you kids don't knock this off. I'm stopping this concert right now. Of course, everybody goes and sits down. As soon as they start playing, they all run back down there. My dad said he was never going to a concert with me ever again after that. Anything that I picked out, he would never go see.
That was it. After that one, he could do Kiss, but not MxPx.
Yeah. Well, he's the one that took me. He took me to Kiss. I took him to MxPx, you know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He could do Kiss, but he can't do MxPx. Too much.
Yeah.
Can't do the mosh pit.
We went and saw Rick Derringer with my dad. That was pretty cool. And who sings the Frankenstein song? Well, I guess there's no words in it, but it's called Frankenstein. It's like albino brothers. Oh,
yeah, this is what happens when you have the brain cloud.
Yeah.
Can't remember what bands and stuff are. Especially when you've seen a lot of them.
And I was just talking about this guy the other day too. Luckily, Edgar Winter.
Oh yeah, Edgar Winter. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him. This is going on with my dad. My dad's influenced me in music and stuff. It was Rick Derringer, Edgar Winter, and then I can't remember what his brother's name, his older brother's name. Blind, albino. He's like sitting in the chair playing the whole time. It was kind of fun. But yeah, that's my first concerts I remember. I do know when my mom was 8 months pregnant with me, my dad took her to a Kiss concert, and they said I was just like kicking the whole time. I was in the whole entire concert. I was just kicking the whole time.
Your actual first concert was Kiss, and the one that was the first in the wound was Kiss too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, what was the first music purchase that you had, and where did you purchase this music from? Like the store, or if you actually went into a store? You probably did.
So yeah, we had quite a few. We have this place called Caribbean Connection that's pretty big down here in Jacksonville, anyways. But I think I can go like as far as like my first tape. And it's funny, we were talking about the Dr. Demento, and then we were like, that was like the original Weird Al. Well, my first tape that I ever bought was Weird Al, Off the Deep End, the one where he kind of looks like it's from the Nirvana cover.
He's in the pool.
Floating in the pool. There's like the donut in front of him. Yeah. Instead of the dollar. That was like my first tape. And so it was Caribbean Connection was the store, and then another one was Smash Music. And Smash Music was more around when I was in high school, is when I was going to that place. You get all your cool blacklight posters and all that silly, goofy stuff you buy at, CD shop, music shops. First CD I ever bought was NoFX Ribbed. The cover, it's like a condom, because NoFX Ribbed. So if you've heard NoFX, yeah. That was my first CD I ever bought. I still have that CD. I still listen to that pretty frequently too. Obviously not CD, because everything's all digital now. I'll throw on Spotify and drop This Is NoFX, so you can just hear NoFX and not anything else. I just found out that the other day. If you put This Is in the band's name, it'll just play that band. I learn something new every day.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, we talk about streaming, and a lot of the guys that are on the podcast, us old heads, we don't like the streaming, but I think you can find any song. Like if you're on Spotify and you just have a wild hair one day and you're like looking for that band, like Dr. Demento, you can find it, right? You know what I mean? Everything is on there.
Yeah, it'd be a playlist of it. Someone made a playlist and put it on there, and it's got every Dr. Demento there ever was. Yeah,
and you're just like, wow, and then that brings up all kinds of memories, and you just, like what I was talking to my son, we were talking about going down the rabbit hole on YouTube. You go down the rabbit hole on Spotify, and just all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I got to do some work. I got to go cut the grass, or I got to cook dinner or something,
My alarm's going off. I have to go to work. And
yeah, we got to go do some work.
I got another one at the first CD. So back when I was growing up, Columbia House was a thing. Like I said, my dad had the giant wall of CDs and all that kind of stuff. So I always got like hand-me-downs and stuff. I remember he got one of those Columbia House things where you get however many CDs and you get a couple free. Well, the free one was Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic. So that was the first CD that I had got that I didn't purchase. My dad was in Navy, so he goes out to sea. I'm listening to this. I think it was the Patchy Rose Peacock song was on. And my mom walked by and heard it because, I had this really nice Pioneer stereo that was a hand-me-down from my dad because he's big into music and all that. She comes in and she sees the front cover of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic, and immediately takes it from me. Immediately took it from me. And one of those things where, like, she goes to work and then I go snooping and find it and kept it. That's I still have that CD too.
That CD got a lot of people in trouble.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't get a whooping or nothing, but I definitely she snatched that CD right out of that CD player and turned my stereo off. Made me go outside and play till the lights came on.
Yeah, it was when your mom or your dad took something away, it was always like you'd go find it. So whether it was a CD or your bike, you knew where it was. Or sometimes my mom would take the telephone away and she would just put it in her room. Yeah. It's not like she would take the receiver to work or anything. It's like, so you would go and find it and play it.
Yeah, my dad, he had like VHS of like all the Cheech and Chongs back when you can get the VHS that had like enough room to put like 4 movies on it. And he has like all the Cheech and Chongs. He had like all the Monty Pythons. When he'd be on tour, like he was in Desert Storm and stuff, he'd be gone for a while. He'd come home and we'd watch those. Some point between when he came home and go on his next one, Mom would take him and hide him. And because she would come home and we'd be sitting on the couch with it on mute, doing the words for Monty Python or Cheech and Chong, she'd get all mad and she'd take it. Then he'd go, I'd find him and I'd hide him under my bed somewhere. And then when he'd come home, like, Dad, I found the tapes. He's like, all right, cool. It happened like clockwork every time. Dad, I found the Cheech and Chongs. Oh, okay, cool. We'll watch them later.
People wonder what we did without cell phones and all this kind of stuff. And like, you guys must have been so bored. I mean, we made so much stuff up and we would go on scavenger hunts. We'd find our videotapes. We'd know the words to all of the movies because we'd watch them like 450 times and your friends would come over.
Oh, yeah.
And you would just watch the freaking Monty Python or, whatever you were into for hours.
Dude, so yeah, some of my friends, I guess it's just maybe like, we're pretty close in age. Like our generations, like that's what we did. We watched movies. We listened to, the collaboration of goofy stuff that was on a record, but all of us can have a whole conversation just in movie quotes. You know what I mean? Like me and my friends can literally have a full conversation just using movie quotes. And people around us would be like, what the hell is going on here? Like, oh, you're too young, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, when you said slapping the bass earlier, I knew exactly what movie that was from. I mean, it's just because we're watching movies and, we always quoting, I can't think of the guy's name, Will Ferrell, all his movies. My wife and I, we were always doing those movies. Or Top Gun. Yep. I mean, certain movies, you just know all of the friggin', Star Wars. I mean, you just know all the stuff from it. You just know those things.
Yep. Yeah, I keep seeing that thing getting passed around on Facebook, like name a movie that you've watched more than 10 times. Like, shit, I can name 100 movies that I've watched more than 100 times. Like,
yeah, it's like, do you want the short list or the long list?
Yeah. Like Back to the Future, Ghostbusters, like, I don't know how many times. I put that on just for like background sound, like there you go, music in movies, like the soundtracks for Back to the Future, the soundtrack for Ghostbusters, and like any of these movies, like, that's all stuff that was ingrained in my head because I was watching these movies all the time, like, and like orchestra stuff, like especially from Back to the Future. That's amazing music in that. And I got put it on like nighttime music. I go put it on the TV and just turn it down a little bit and just pass out to Back to the Future. Yeah, I
love that Huey Lewis is in that. I used to love Huey Lewis in the news, and I love that he's in that movie playing the teacher that yells at him for it's just too darn loud. It's just too loud.
Yeah. That's another funny thing. Huey Lewis, we after Allie and I got married, when we walked back down the aisle, the song was Power of Love.
Power of Love. There you go. From Back to the Future. Yep. So exactly. Those are some good times. And yeah, those songs, I mean, Ghostbusters, that's another good one. And my kids know that one from the skating rink. So every time they play Ghostbusters, they would say, turn around. So they would have to go the opposite direction. And then the Ghostbuster would play, turn around. So they go back the other direction. So when they were, we went and saw their new movie, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but when they played the, song at the end, they're saying, turn around, turn around. That's what because I know it from the skating rink. Another frame of reference that we don't know it from.
Yeah, what's the significance of that? Is just
they would just play the song, and they would they would be going in the skating direction one way, and then they say Ghostbusters, and then once they say Ghostbusters, they say, all right, turn around, and then they would go the other direction, and then when they say Ghostbusters again, turn around, and so they go back the other direction. So they, when they hear that song, all they think about is turn around. It's
That's funny.
Different point of reference, but they kind of do the same thing and learn from watching the same movies that we watched.
That could be like I got a couple buddies that work in fishing, and they're real big into playing this. They play AC/DC Thunderstruck, and they turn it into a drinking game. I don't know if you heard this. People still need excuses to drink. I don't know, but you drink your beer until it says thunder. So every time it says thunder, it switches to the next person. And so you think how like there's a guitar solo and they'll say thunder and someone's like stuck there. You could probably do that with the Ghostbusters. Every time it says Ghostbusters, oh, we got to switch. So drink.
That would be a good one. Something that repeats like that. Well, let's take a break and we'll be right back. So hang on. We are back. I'm Johnny Bravo. You're going under the musical influence of today's guest, Bon Scott Stevens, on Under the Influence with DJ Johnny Bravo. Bon, so this is a question that gets a lot of people in trouble, and you can take the easy way out on this one too. You can give me more than one, but I usually ask, what's your favorite song?
Yeah, that is a really hard one. I don't want to take the easy way out. So, I mean, there's so many songs. Pretty much anything that gives you the feels, like the goosebumps, like right here, or like that, like down right here, like that is normally songs I kind of lean to, and I could break it down into like genres. Man, there's so many to pick from, and then like certain time frames of your life, there's different songs that get pushed into different spots, and what you were going through, or what you were doing at the time. I could say probably Pantera Walk probably might be one of my favorite songs.
What makes you pick Pantera?
I don't know. It's just it's something that a lot of my friends and it's like our common ground in music. Like we have all liked Pantera, and yeah, I would say Pantera Walk, just to throw one out there.
My DJ buddy that I did, I'm not sure what, I think he was episode 2. He did through, like 80s. This is my 70s, my 80s, my 90s, my 2000s, so forth. So he put a couple more in there, so if you wanted to do a close second or a close third, or by, 70s, 80s, 90s, you can do that. I mean, it's no real hard rule. It's just my question.
Yeah. Well, let's see. More recently, I've been listening to Wage War. It's kind of heavy. It's really heavy, but they have melodic parts in it. Not really, I can't really name a song from them, but all their songs are like, that's my favorite stuff going on right now. I'll put that on. I get to work, I put that on, get in the zone, I start twisting wires. But let's see, in high school, it was all punk rock, so I would have to say Millencolin, Bullion. That's one of my favorite songs growing in middle or in high school. And then probably the whole album of NoFX Rib, that first album, the first CD that I bought. That's a given right there. Like the entire album, like every song on the album. Whew, man, there's so many. I can't do it.
Yeah, it's really putting people on the spot. It really is a hard one.
I like a lot of Fats Waller. I know that's way out of left field from everything I've been saying, but I like Fats Waller. Muddy Waters, like that kind of. Yeah, so I can, instead of just giving songs, I could just give you some artists to just kind of spread out through there. Leon Redbone's pretty good too. I don't know if you like good old Leon Redbone. Man, how about the intro for the Goonies?
Well, there you go.
That's a good song.
Yeah, that is a good song.
Yeah.
Mar brought up Fats Waller on her podcast. She's been listening to some Fats Waller lately.
Oh, it's great, man. Guys at work kind of give me a hard time whenever they come in, and I'll have my little speaker playing, and like, what the hell are you listening to? Because normally it's like Pantera or System of a Down blasting over the stereo in the shop. Sometimes one of the lead man is lucky enough to get on the Bluetooth and he'll play some country or something, but I'll have my little speaker box. I'll listen to that. Another good one, I had a big reggae phase. I used to listen to a lot of Don D. Lion or Don Drummond, and it's almost like big band. It's reggae, but it's just big band. It's not vocals. It's just lots of trumpets, a lot of saxophones, all kinds of. And it's very, very moving. Like, it's just go, go, go the whole time. I went through a phase where I was listening to that a lot. Like, I could just put that on and go to work and not have a care in the world.
And one of the other guys that we had on the podcast, he was a drummer on the guy that I work with, Boyd, and he was talking about some of his influences with the drums. Being that you play drums, you know, who were some of your influences that once you got into them, or maybe even before you got into them, like that you really looked at as far as, man, that guy is good, or this, maybe there's girls out there playing drums now too.
I remember when I first got my drum set and I just started getting, like, obviously I was listening to punk rock all the time, but I just started getting into heavy music, and Slayer was one of the ones that started popping up with my buddies. And I remember listening to the drummer, because that's where my brain went every time I'd listen to some new music. Like, oh, that's great. The guitar sounds great. The vocal sounds, but I'm just right on the drums, you know. Dave Lombardo was the drummer on the albums I was listening to, and he is phenomenal double bass player. I mean, well, drummer, period. As soon as I heard that, I was like, I don't care how many yards I have to mow, I'm getting a double bass pedal. And I had a double bass pedal within like 2 weeks because of listening to Dave Lombardo and Slayer. Terry Bozzio is a pretty good one. I actually have I think I still have it. I have a VHS of him. It's like an instructional video, which really isn't really an instructional video. It's more of like a look how good I am video. Giant, humongous drum set. Everything's black, cymbal stands, cymbals, everything, you know. He played with Frank Zappa, I believe. And then I want to say he played with Korn. I want to say he played with Korn for a little bit, the early 2000s or something like that. But he's a pretty good drummer. Obviously, Dave Weckl, Neil Peart, rest in peace, Neil Peart. That's one of the drummers that, like actual drummers that I knew, played a whole lot like him, because that's all he listened to Rush all the time. So there was little bits and pieces of Neil Peart that I picked up from him. Yeah, I'm not a big Lars fan. Ever since I saw I think he was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or something like that, where they ask you the 4 questions, you get the lifeline or something. They ask him what a paradiddle was, and then each question answer was like a different description of what a paradiddle is. And for people that aren't drummers or don't know what paradiddle is, it's a rudiment, and it's just right, left, right, right. That's a paradiddle. Paradiddle, paradiddle, paradiddle. And he had no idea. And that's when I was just like, oh my God. All right. No more Lars.
No more Lars.
No more Lars.
There's a really good, you talked about documentaries and watching documentaries. Have you seen the one on Netflix, Count Me In, about the drummers?
Yeah, it's the big part of it is the Jane's Addiction's drummer, right?
Yeah, I think so. And there's some lady drummers in there too.
That was really good.
And I think really it's the one drummer now for Red Hot Chili Peppers. He was on there quite a bit, wasn't he?
Yep. I can't remember what his name is. Did you see he was on the late night show, Jimmy Fallon, late night. Him, and they had Will Ferrell, because everyone says that Will Ferrell and him look alike, and they had that drum battle.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
And Will Ferrell beat him, but not really.
Yeah. Well, because Quest loves playing the drums for him, and without, you can't see it, but yeah.
I saw Questlove. I saw the Roots and Fugees, and they played their instruments, and I'm a DJ, and they DJ. So they had a DJ up there and playing their instruments, and I didn't know what was going on. I was just losing my mind. I'm like, wait a minute, they're playing their own instruments and they have the DJ? That was just so phenomenal to me to see that.
They're intense. I'm a huge Jimmy Fallon fan, so I was stoked to see him get on the late night show. But then when I found out they had Questlove and the Roots as his band, I was like, he's not going anywhere. He's got the Roots as his band, and it's Jimmy Fallon. He's perfectly fine. He's gonna be on this spot for a very long time, and look at him now. Yeah,
NBC highlighted some drummers. They highlighted Questlove and Max. Max from Bruce Springsteen's band.
Yep.
On Conan. Yep. He was on with Conan.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not a question I asked on here, but I just know that you're drummers, and a lot of times people it's not they don't see the drummer, they don't think about the drummer, and they don't think about the importance of the drummer. And normally the drummer's in the back. You don't think about it unless you're like Tommy Lee and you're on the freaking drums and you're flying out through the audience like he would, drumming around in he had all kinds of contraptions, man. I think one point he was doing some kind of roller coaster drums. He had ones that would flip around. I mean, he was just wild. But you don't really think about the drummer and the importance of the drummer in the band. And so I just like to bring that up because those are just some unique drumming influences that you named, from if you think about the different bands that you named them from, it's not all the same band. I mean, that's just awesome.
Yeah.
This is another one that gets us in trouble, or, gets me in trouble, I guess, because, narrowing it down, But your favorite band, and it could be, you know, an artist, could be a band, it could be a group.
My go-to band, if I was going to go out in the garage right now and listen to, if it was something that I had to listen to, it could be like that, like this is going to be the last thing I'm ever going to have to be able to listen to, kind of thing.
Yeah, it could be that, or it could be like, you know, maybe 5 albums you take on a desert island with you or whatever.
Well, when I was reading through the questions, the only thing I wrote down was Millencolin. That's literally like my favorite band. It's good, cover all of everything. You know, how I felt growing up to even like now, some of the songs mean more to me now than they did then. You know, so go with my old faithful punk band, Millencolin.
That covers all the bases.
Final answer.
That's your final answer. You don't need to call anybody.
Yeah. I know Allie would probably say, why didn't you say this? Or why didn't you say that? And Slipnot's really cool. I don't know if you ever had the chance to see Slipnot live. There's something like, because they start the show off with the synthesizer, some kind of synthesized noise before they even like come out on stage. You just hear that first. And it's literally like a wave of just like you just, the whole place just feels different. It's like, whoa, something crazy is about to happen here. And then they start playing, and it's you would think, oh, it's crazy because they're heavy in the mask, and the fans would probably be in snuff. I've never seen more happier fans, honestly. Like if there was like a circle, like a pit circle going on here, someone get picked up, you know, they dust you off, get you back up. I'm too old to do that stuff now.
Yeah, they typically take care of you.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we had this place called music venue called Freebirds. Yes, Jacksonville, Leonard Skinner. That's actually who the wife of one of them owned it. Head PE was there, and I'd just gotten off of work, and the security guards that worked at the place that I worked at also did the security guard at the venue. So we'd get off of work and we'd walk over there. They would literally put their arm out and stop the line for the people that paid for tickets and then let us in. And but we saw Head PE, and I had a couple shift beers after work, and I was like, man, these guys look like they're having so much fun. And I was already past the age of I should not be doing this. I'm gonna hurt myself. And screw it. I handed my beer to somebody, and I just went and ran around. And I remember like every time it was like right before my butt was about to hit the ground, 2 people are pulling me back up, smiling, laughing, having a good time. Wake up the next morning, it's like I played football all day or something. Like my back, my everything hurt. Everything hurt. That was a good time.
There's nothing like it in the world. There's nothing like it in the world, though.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Yeah, I was never really big into that. It was just, I remember sitting there and I was like, man, they look like they're having a blast. Like I'm gonna go out there and jump around with them. And it worked. No, I haven't done it since, though. But
yeah, the way they do shows nowadays and the way they do them now, you know, today, it's a lot different. It's like everybody just kind of sits there and, you know, does what they do. And, you know, it's like they don't do any movement. And then everybody's too busy worried about their phones, holding their phones up and taking the pictures. And it's like, you know, get in there and do the mosh pit, man. You know, do something. Go wild.
Yeah.
Don't just stand there, you know, and just kind of, you know, some people are moving back and forth, but it's like, you paid to see this thing, and a lot of times you're paying like over $200 to see this thing.
Well, then sometimes it's the complete opposite. I remember going to the same venue. I want to say it was As I Lay Dying. I think it was the show, but it was an all ages show. So they had upstairs was just 21 and up, and downstairs was the young kids. So we're sitting there watching this band play. You know, we get in for free, so let's go check them out. I think they're a contemporary Christian, or were a contemporary Christian band as well. One of the heavier ones. We'd go up there, we're sitting there drinking a beer, and there's like moms and like daughters right there at the front of the stage that are in the show. And then there's these kids just doing this swinging their arm thing around, bumping into them. And we're like, me and my buddy are sitting there like, we're going to have to do something about this. We can't stand here and let this happen. Just watching these girls get slammed against the stage because these guys are being idiots. We'd finish our beer, go down there. He'd go one way in a circle. I'd go the other way in a circle. And we'd get to a point where we got to right where that kid was. And I'd go low and he'd go high. And we just like, wham! Stop hitting the girls. And then just walk off, go back upstairs and get a beer.
Oh, man.
They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it anymore.
I went to a show at Grove Avenue Baptist Church in Richmond, and my buddy from youth group was in a band. I can't think of the name of the band, but it was a heavy metal Christian band. I mean, you know, and you know, we're basically talking about thrash metal and all that. And then they also had like rap guys there that were Christian. And I just remember being there. He invited me, so I went. All these kids are there, you know, and they were moshing, doing all this kind of stuff. And I remember there were some deacons there from the church. I'm like, what are these deacons over there thinking? Because the music was like, and I'm like, how are they praising the Lord with this? But they were doing it, you know what I mean? But it was like, I don't know, and my buddy was the one singing. And I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about, but I guess he's praising the Lord in there somewhere. I don't know, but they were just moshing, having a great time. It was just so funny to see the people's faces that go to that church. They were probably like, what did we let these kids do?
Yeah. It was kind of the same thing at the MxPx concert. There was youth group leaders. They were selling these tickets at youth groups, selling them in like bundles. So there's youth group pastors there and all this, and 90-pound wuss gets up there before MxPx, and they're like hawking loogies into the crowd.
Yeah.
What do you think the parents are doing?
Yeah, it's like, where are the parents? They were there. They were in the audience. They just weren't doing the moshing.
They moved to the back.
You ready for the finale?
I believe so.
All right, here we go. You probably could have done a better drum roll, I'm sure. How has music impacted your life?
I mean, it's pretty much been every part of my life. If I wouldn't have gotten into music, I wouldn't be banging on a drum on the sideline at an NFL game. I'll tell you that much. I wouldn't have the friend family that I have. Being in the drum line and being in bands, you like, a lot of people don't get the, you make friends, but like in music, it's like a whole different type of friend. It's like family. Like you created a new family member with this person. This venture in this music, like the drum line. I got, well, it's been 17 years. There's been a couple guys in and out, but long story short, I got 16 brothers. I got 16 brothers from music that I can call anytime. Give me the shirt off the back. Same with me. Do anything for each other. Yeah, friends, brought family closer. Like I said, my dad was in the military, so I have all his access to all his music, but I didn't get to see him a whole lot. Well, then when he retired, and then I graduated high school, we got in a band, and we actually started hanging out and actually clicked as me being an adult with his dad instead of me being son. Go have a beer, and just talk about stuff that we never talked about before. I'm closer now with my dad than I was all the way through high school and even a couple years after high school because of music. Being in the band that was first that I was talking about, it was two bands. First band was Stiff Iguana, don't ask me. Second band was Earth End, and I had nothing to do with that one either, but that's how far you would travel to hear good music, was the end of the earth. So it was Earth End was the name of the band. It was kind of clever. That was the band that we played at the bars and played originals and stuff at. I probably would have never met Allie because I wouldn't have been doing the stuff I was doing. Wouldn't be talking to you on this podcast.
It's a different experience that people just don't realize. You say you have the band of brothers with your D-line.
Yeah.
And you guys,
yep.
And you talk about your dad being in the military, and that's what I was thinking about when you were talking. It's almost like, that military family. When you're in music, yeah. It's like, you move left, they move left, you move right, they move right, you go, it's just, you guys are listening to the same things, or you're into the same things, or even if you aren't into the same things, you're kind of into the same things. You know what I mean? It's kind of sometimes hard to put into words. And we've done this, over, this will be the 8th time now. And it's just, everybody puts it into different words, but it's all the same kind of speak, that we're speaking the same kind of thing. And you can't see it right now because my camera is showing something different, but I got a wall of music behind me. And I know you probably have a wall of music somewhere. You still got your dad's stuff and you're still playing that stuff, or even if it's just on your phone. And really a cool thing that you have that band of brothers that you can go out with on Sundays and sometimes Saturdays and whenever and play.
Whenever, with music, being on the drum line, I've went to London 6 different times with the Jags to play at the game and play for the fans in London because of music. I would have never went to London. I mean, that's not something that was just like, hey, I want to go to London. It was just like, hey, do you have a passport? No? Well, you better go get one if you're getting this email. Okay. I get my passport. I have to get it expedited because we're in a time crunch because they're asking us to go to, this is the first year, asking us to go to London and get my receipt, give it to the Jags. They're supposed to just give you money for the expedite fee, not for the passport. I get a check in the mail from NFL Adventures for the entire passport. And I'm like, man, can I just sell my soul to the NFL?
Oh, man.
Yeah, all because of music. I got a passport for free because of playing drums. Went to London, and they pay us. They pay us to go out there. When I go to the game, I have an app on my phone. I clock in, I get a paycheck, I get payroll from the Jags. Like, it's been coming from 17 years ago where we were coming out of our pocket to go do this. You know, like we were making our uniform. We were setting our drums up and, you know, and all this stuff. Like now we have sponsors for certain things, sticks and stuff like that. It's pretty insane. It's coming from where it's all because of music.
Remember you telling me that when we first started talking about doing the podcast, and you were telling me, oh yeah, just let me know, you know, we'll get it out. We'll get the word out. I got a, you know, big group of folks that sponsor us and take care of us and do this for us and that kind of thing. I mean, I remember you telling me all about that, and that's just a great thing to have. And you're still doing it, you know, after all these years. That's the other great thing. A lot of times people give up on this thing. You know, I mean, I stopped doing radio, but I'd never given up on doing something, you know, like this. You know, I still DJ occasionally, you know, when it makes sense. And when I hear somebody's doing, you know, a party with their freaking cell phone or whatever, I'm like, why are you doing that? Let me come over there and handle that professionally for you. Even if you only give me a couple of bucks or a couple of beers, I'd rather do it professionally for you than you try to do it on your phone. And you've built these relationships with these folks, and now worldwide. I mean, not just in Jacksonville, but worldwide.
Yeah, the last game we were supposed to go to, well, actually, we haven't gone to London the last 2 years because of the whole Corona and all that. But we were supposed to go this season. A couple weeks later, they said, okay, we're not going to have you come out because I guess stuff was spiking or something over there. And game day comes along, and I'm getting messages from people that I've met and became friends with in London that are like, oh, I wish you guys were here. London's shit during game day now. Like, it was insane how many messages I got were like, man, we miss you guys. I wish we were here. Like, people asking like, hey, if you ever want to come out and stay, we got an extra bedroom. And like, it's pretty crazy, man. All because of music. Because I've decided instead of sitting there with a cast on my arm and not play trombone to actually pick up mallets. Like, I wouldn't be, if you'd asked me if I was going to be in an NFL drumline back then, I probably laughed in your face.
Like that, we're getting close to the Christmas season. It's like that, you know, movie, and you know they basically go back and they see the guy's whole life. And if you did this one thing that you didn't do, you know, Christmas Carol, Scrooge,
yeah, Carol.
Yeah, and if you do your whole life one thing different, it would have been like you playing trombone. You might have just lasted, I don't know, maybe through middle school.
Probably would have ended up, who knows, joining the military or something. But I talk about that all the time with Alec. Like, man, you know, if I would have done this or done this, we would have never met.
Yeah, just that one little thing different would have changed your entire trajectory of your life, and you're just a different guy because of it.
Yeah. Speaking of the Christmas Carol, I would say I like the Scrooge one. You know, I like the Bill Murray one.
Well, he's a very good. And speaking of Bill, I don't know if you do any Marvel or not, but he's going to supposedly be in the new Ant-Man movie. And they find him, I guess, hard to try to get in touch with, because I don't even think he has a cell phone. I don't even know if he has a regular phone. I don't know if you got to send a carrier pigeon or what do you got to do to get him to do a movie. But
he's got one of those red phones, like the president can get a hold of him or something.
Maybe only like 2 people have that number, or a couple people, but they got in touch with him, and he's going to be in the new Ant-Man movie.
What is he going to be?
I don't know. I hadn't read what character he's going to play or anything, but and it's probably because Paul Rudd, you know, just did the new Ghostbusters, so they were probably able to, you know, get him into the new one. I guess, I don't know if that's what it was or something else. Maybe he's got the inside scoop.
That's probably how they got a hold of him, was Paul Rudd then.
That's true.
Because I could see Paul Rudd and him becoming pretty good friends. And speaking of Paul Rudd, is he aging backwards?
I guess so, man.
He looks exactly the same as he did in Clueless.
Yeah, slapping the bass. I guess slapping the bass, that's what it does. You know, you can't find people for your wedding. That's what happens. That's a movie.
Slapping the bass.
And Rush, and they just, you know, the wife just didn't get it. You know, it was like bringing up all kinds of interconnected. Yeah, he was just slapping the bass, man. Thanks for going under the musical influence of today's guest, Bon Scott Stevens, on Under the Influence with DJ Johnny Bravo. Go under the influence on Instagram at DJ Johnny Bravo _ under the influence. That's DJ JONNI BRAVO _ under the influence. Please subscribe to Under the Influence with DJ Johnny Bravo, where you listen to your podcast. I'm Johnny Bravo. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
are no longer under the influence with DJ Johnny Bravo. Until next week.